A huge derby in the capital. Chelsea need a response, while Arsenal are still ticking along at the top. A positive week for Tottenham, who are finding ways to win. If only Liverpool could figure out that solution. And the Premier League welcomes back Unai Emery this weekend. His Aston Villa era starts against Manchester United.
Hey guys.
Jules.
Hey man, you good? Good to see you. Good, and you?
Seeing you, man.
Sunday, here, down the road in West London, Chelsea against Arsenal in the Premier League.
Just a mile away, and tell you what, that should be Hollywood. Just go inside.
There's a lot of work to be done for Chelsea to stay the number one London team in the Premier League this season.
It should be Chelsea, based on pedigree and Tuchel and whatever. Yeah. But right now, when I look at it logically, I don't see how it can be.
You know I never doubt you, of course, and I usually always agree with you. And this time we were right, you especially in terms of the question marks we had over Chelsea at the start of the season, and then now, the start of November, kind of proved us right.
What we didn't expect, obviously, that Tuchel would go like that in the way that he did after the window closed, which I think probably makes Graham Potter's job all the more difficult.
Yeah.
There's an amazing stat. Chelsea have 21 points. Tuchel, 10 points in 6 games. Potter, 11 points from 6 games. So there's no magic bullet here.
Pushed away, and Gross is there! Graham Potter will have his unbeaten run as Chelsea head coach ended.
Inevitably after defeat like the one against Brighton, big match, London derby against Arsenal. This is something that Graham Potter needs to immediately show that Chelsea are heading in the right direction.
This is huge in terms of results, in terms of performances, because Chelsea haven't been good under Graham Potter. And I think this is the day. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff. It's at Stamford Bridge, in front of your own fans, against the leaders who've played great, who've showed resilience and cohesion that maybe you haven't really showed, you as a Chelsea team.
It was I would say a unique situation the weekend, and now we have to learn from that, and it's all about the response, it's all about doing better. The boys have done that really well. Good performance against Zagreb, trained well, so we have to take that into Arsenal. A London derby, it's a special game, it's an exciting game. We have to be ready to play the football that can get us a result.
The concept cannot be Raheem Sterling as a left wing back and Christian Pulisic as a right wing back. And I'm all okay to try things, but then when it costs you points and you're in a position in the table that is not the greatest, I think you take risks that maybe are not needed.
I take your point, but you could also, and I'm going to play devil's advocate or Graham Potter advocate here, it could also have been a different story if in the back three, behind Pulisic and Sterling, you have Fofana and Koulibaly, like you thought you would have, rather than Chalobah and Cucurella, just different players, right?
Would you go as far as saying that this is a good time to play Chelsea? It's never a good time to play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, right?
In the sense that Chelsea are coming off a poor result in the Premier League, sure. You have to weigh that against the fact that this is not a game that Chelsea can really afford to drop points in. A draw against the league leaders is still something you can sell, live to fight another day, get the injured guys back. All of that you can sell. If you get thumped, then it gets really, really difficult.
I really believe in Arteta. I think he's an elite coach, there's no doubt, and we will see even a better Arteta and a better Arsenal this season. I still think right now, you have to be honest, and they're just below Spurs.
Well, Jules, you called it right there about Arsenal being better. Not so much about them being behind Spurs, but then Arsenal have been devastating. I think they've surpassed everybody's expectations, even Arteta's.
They are turning on the style as they return to the top of the table.
31 points at this stage of the season. Only 9 teams, I think, in the history of the Premier League had more points than 31, and they all went to either win the league or finishing second. So it's looking good. They might not stay at the top all season. They might not compete with City all season, but for this first quarter of the season, I think they've been tremendous.
You expect at some point, injuries do happen, right?
But they've got so much momentum, and if they strengthen a little bit in January, I think it could be very, very interesting.
We talk about momentum, right? But here, look, they had a big wobble there against Southampton. but they got right back on track, and that, I think, is very important.
Losing football matches is part of it. It will happen at a certain stage. I don't know when, and you have to react to that and affect you just in the moment and move forward, analyze what happens, and try to become better as a team. And that's what we've done. We managed to win the last 2 games, and now we have to go to Stamford Bridge.
It's a big game. Playing away from home as well, I think, will be, of course, a statement. But it's not about one game, it's about the whole season, and I think we've been pretty good. And yeah, we have to keep going, take it game by game, and of course we want to win now, but we'll fight every game anyway.
All right, Jules, we need to lay our cards on the table here about how we see this going. For me, it's very simple. I think Chelsea are going to deliver in this game. This Arsenal run has to come to an end, so I'm going Chelsea.
I think Arsenal have so much momentum. I think they've got so much confidence in their own ability, in their own game, that I think they're going to come to the bridge and play even better than what they did last season and get a win.
All right, man. Shake on it, man.
Yeah, see you on Sunday. Yeah, let's bring it on.
Spurs in third place, painfully aware that the chasing pack are closing in. Tavernier. And here's Kiefer Moore! Spurs ripped apart on the counter. Smith. Oh, Moore! Fantastic goal again for Bournemouth. Oh, that's Sessegnon. He could be in here. There's a goal back for Tottenham. Yet another corner. And Ben Davies has equalised for Spurs. It's 2-2. Son. Oh, it got a flick and stabbed in brilliantly. Rodrigo Bentancur has won it for Spurs.
It has been a roller coaster last couple of weeks, but even in this topsy-turvy season, Liverpool's home form remains solid. What's this? It's a chance for Rodrigo, and a Liverpool calamity into Feds. Fabinho Salah equalises for Liverpool. Somerville! Liverpool, in the final minute of the 90, have fallen behind again!
So while Tottenham was spurred on as the final whistle approached, Liverpool lapsed in the late stages. The North Londoners reignited a title challenge that had seemed on the verge of spluttering out after back-to-back defeats. Those losses, though, one at home to Newcastle, the previous one at Old Trafford, a reminder that rainy days are never far away. Tottenham left it late again when they beat Marseille to qualify top of their group in the Champions League. Victory came at a cost, though. Son Heung-min required surgery after an eye injury, which further depletes Spurs' front line. So supporters will pin their hopes on Harry Kane to add to his 10 league goals this season when Liverpool come to town. Tottenham haven't beat any of their rivals in the current top 6 this term, but the Merseysiders are down in 9th, a scalp to be taken perhaps.
You know very well what I think about Liverpool. It's one of the best teams in the world. They're having a bit of difficulty in this season, and I'm surprised about this. They have one of the best coaches in the world. They have a fantastic player, and but at the same time, we have a lot of problems. But we want to play an important game in front of our fans.
A Champions League victory over Serie A leaders Napoli surely gave Jurgen Klopp's men a much-needed boost. Their form domestically has been astonishing, and not in a good way. To lose to 2 teams in the relegation zone on successive weekends would have been unimaginable in the past 3 campaigns.
Back to the drawing board again. It's another setback for Jurgen Klopp.
The Reds have already been beaten once in North London this season, and they have yet to win on their travels this Premier League campaign. Already 8 points off the top 4, Jurgen Klopp needs his side to rise to the big occasion, something they proved capable of doing not so long ago against the champions.
Liverpool's most impressive result of this campaign so far.
We cannot be picky with opponents and games, and where we want to get points, we have to go for it, definitely. But it's difficult. We all know that Tottenham is a side that's well organized, a really good team, extremely well coached, and a real fighting unit. So it will be a tough one, but that's what we actually all want.
Liverpool and Tottenham drew both their meetings last season. This time around, neither side is likely to be happy with just a share of the points.
Be honest, who expected this last week?
Somerville! Crescencio Somerville surely wins the game for Leeds United!
It was 8 matches without a victory before Leeds collected those 3 gigantic points at Anfield. And the victory has certainly hushed those who are calling for Jesse Marsch's departure. Though Leeds head coach will know that they'll need to back it up with another performance against Bournemouth this weekend.
This week, I think there's been real concentration on what's necessary for this weekend, and our focus entirely is to build momentum. In order to do that, we have to get a result and a win against Bournemouth.
Bournemouth's interim manager Gary O'Neill says Leeds are unlucky to be where they are, and he knows all about misfortune. The Cherries let a 2-goal lead slip against Spurs last week. That was their 3rd defeat in a row. The worry for Bournemouth is that the relegation zone has now appeared in their rearview mirror.
De Bruyne with the free kick. Oh, it's incredible. They needed that goal. And Manchester City lead.
No Erling Haaland, so Kevin De Bruyne made sure nothing could dampen Manchester City's sunny spirits. Haaland was also missing for the midweek victory over Sevilla in the Champions League, but the Norwegian should be back to help maintain City's perfect home record against Fulham.
They have a good process from behind, and of course when he's under pressure they can use the long balls with Mitrovic, that the 10 long balls win 9, or even the second balls is for them. So yeah, good team. It's not a surprise. So start really well, draw against Liverpool at home and continue that way.
Under Marco Silva, Fulham continue to look the part in the Premier League. The Cottagers are unbeaten in 4, and only an inspired display by Jordan Pickford denied them a 3rd straight victory last time out against Everton. They'll need to have their shooting boots on this weekend, though. They last netted a league goal at the Etihad back in 2011. Damien Duff, the scorer.
A fortnight ago, Everton put 3 past Crystal Palace, but the wider picture would suggest that that was an anomaly. The goalless draw with Fulham last week was far more akin to Everton's season so far. Finding more creativity and goals might be Frank Lampard's priority come January. It's Leicester at Goodison Park this weekend.
They've had a really tough start of the season, but I've watched them in the last few games and they've improved a lot. So I don't think they are where they should. So they will be dangerous, and it's going to be a tough game for us. But we'll be ready because we know what's coming.
A far sturdier Leicester City is the answer. They're back in the bottom 3 after the single-goal defeat to Manchester City. But Brendan Rodgers liked the fighting mentality that his players showed against the champions. Now, to back it up on Merseyside. The Foxes haven't been successful in any of their last 5 games against Everton. Win this one, though, and they might move above them. Arsenal are top, as they have been for nearly 3 months now, but Manchester City won't budge from their tail. Liverpool are closer to the relegation zone than the top 4, and it's tight in the bottom half. 6 points separate Brentford in 11th and Forest in 20th, and they meet this weekend. And the latest Premier League adventure begins for Unai Emery on Sunday too, as Aston Villa face a revived Manchester United. That's on the way next.
In the Premier League, you can ride the crest of a wave one week.
Breakthrough to Nottingham Forest. A tumultuous Trent end. Cheers, its heroes.
Only to sink back to the depths 8 days later.
Odegaard. The captain gets in on the act for Arsenal, who have their 5th goal.
Nottingham Forest remain rooted to the bottom, but it won't be results like the one at the Emirates that will determine their fate. The team have collected 7 of their 9 points on their own turf. If they can build home momentum, their plight might ease. They face Brentford and then Palace at the City Ground before the World Cup break.
Every game is difficult, and yeah, when we play at home, I think we are better when we play away. But yeah, we need to fight every game. That is a mentality we need to keep. But it's okay. We're back in the training. We train. We walk. Yeah, we go again. We go again this week.
Brentford have sorted out their home form, but away from West London, it's a different story. 3 defeats, 3 draws and no league wins on the road. Thomas Frank will be without his top scorer for the trip to Forest. Ivan Toney is suspended after picking up his 5th yellow card against Wolves last time out.
Wolves might finally have a permanent manager soon. Julien Lopetegui's name is firmly back in the frame, and the recent point at Brentford will also have helped to re-establish some positivity. The only blemish was Diego Costa's red card. He'll now miss the next 3 games, starting with Brighton on Saturday. And what a week Roberto De Zerbi's had. His first victory was a particularly sweet one for Seagulls supporters, as Graham Potter's Chelsea was swept away on the south coast.
And Gross is there! And he wraps up victory for Brighton and Hove Albion. Roberto De Zerbi will get his first win as Brighton head coach.
It was important for 3 points for our fans, for our club, for our players. Last 5 games there were good performances, but in terms of results were not fair.
There's actually a chance Brighton could end the weekend above Chelsea, while for Wolves, only a win would allow them to exit the relegation zone.
Sitting 17th with just 5 points from the last 24 available, Southampton's plight sounds terrible. And yet in 4 of their last 5 defeats, they've only lost by a single goal. Score more and the picture will change dramatically. That's the message Ralph Hasenhüttl has been communicating to his players ahead of Newcastle's visit.
When it was 1 goal is enough to win against us, then it's not what we can live with. But I think the defending was not the issue in the last games. I think it's much more the being clinical with the chances we had, and when we do it a little bit better in front of the goal, I think then we can take here more wins, and this is what we are lacking in the moment.
Newcastle are flying. 5 wins in 6 games has propelled Eddie Howe's men into the Champions League places. 16 goals scored and just 3 conceded in that run. The Saints may struggle to avoid a repeat of last season's home defeat by the Magpies.
West Ham made some history this week by becoming the first team to win all 6 of their group games in the Europa Conference League. They were able to rest some key players too for what was a 10th game in just 34 days. That's included tight defeats to Liverpool and Manchester United, but their recent record against this weekend's opponents, Crystal Palace, is strong.
It'll be tough. They're a good team. They've got very good individual players as well. I think every game in the Premier is so hard. Every week you're against a team that can definitely beat you. And Sunday's no different. But we'll have our game plan. We'll go out there expecting to win, and hopefully we can.
Crystal Palace tend to be quick to respond to setbacks under Patrick Vieira. The defeat at Everton was swiftly eliminated from the system with a win against Southampton. And Saints were also the last team they beat away from Selhurst Park, but that was back in April. The next part of Palace's progression is to improve on their travels.
Away we go, Steven Gerrard's first Premier League game, leading from the touchline.
Those heady days a year ago when Villa Park seemed sprinkled in stardust and fans hoped to see their club rise and shine.
This has opened up for Villa. Watkins might go alone, does go alone! A fabulous first goal of the Steven Gerrard era.
The former Liverpool player and Rangers boss inspired the villains, but it didn't last. Under him, they lost 5 of their first 11 games of this campaign.
We've just had the breaking news that Steven Gerrard has left Aston Villa as the manager with immediate effect.
So let's begin again. Another new dawn, another new manager, another renaissance for Aston Villa.
I think that the names that were sort of linked with the football club, I think there was Pochettino getting labelled coming into the football club, and I felt that was never going to happen. You know, for where he's been, no disrespect to the club, but I think where it's at this moment in time, they can't really go and brand and bring managers in of that calibre. Emery is the next man. That you look at the list of managers that were linked with their football club, and you think, listen, we've got a potential very good manager again. He's had a little bit of a taste at Arsenal in the Premier League. Didn't really work for him, but you look at his CV and it's very good. But let's not get carried away with what he's done. He's coming into Aston Villa and he's got to come and do the same things and really achieve and take this club forward.
Unai Emery, taking charge of a club that won the old First Division 7 times, brings European experience and will have funds in January. But the current group of players will need to adapt and perform.
I want to create a new way, and obviously we need time. But in football, time is the next match. But I want to be here for a long time, and each step ahead, thinking to improve.
Inspiration's all very well, but real results are achieved when a team plays with the same commitment and belief week after week. That hasn't happened this term.
This isn't a top 4 club. It's going to take time. It really is. He's got to work with players that there is quality there for sure. I think there's lots more potential, but what I haven't liked about this season is the inconsistency of the way they performed. You can't go and beat Brentford and be absolutely mind-blowing. Get the fans on your side, yes, and then go to Newcastle and be abysmal. I think you have to look at the squad of players, and obviously the squad of players at this moment in time, I'm not sure that we're getting the full potential out of them.
We know together that we haven't performed well enough and we haven't got the results that we wanted, and that's why we're not in the position we want to be in the league. Now there's been a change, we want to try and build a bit of confidence and build some good results and get Villa Park really a hard place to come. So hopefully it can start on the weekend.
I want the fans to buy into what he's going to bring to the club, because he's going to be very different and he's a counter-attacking sort of style manager. So this is what worries me. All football clubs want to see expansive, free-flowing, they want to see excitement. I don't know if we're going to get that with Emery. That's my only big concern. I think everyone has to buy into what he's going to bring to the football club, because eventually I think he will get it right.
At Old Trafford, it seems that Erik ten Hag is getting it right. Manchester United are 5th, having won 7 of their last 10 league matches. 5 clean sheets in that run, and a young striker rejuvenated.
Rashford coming in! Bullet! He thundered it home, and the breakthrough comes for Manchester United.
We talk about expectations. That club has expectations. That club has world-class players, quality, in depth, and I like what he's done. I really do. To really stamp his authority, I think that's really stood out for me, because he's really said to himself, you know what, I'm the manager, I'm working at this football club. This is how we're going to take this club forward, and that's what I think the club's been missing. So I really do feel that they can start to re-establish what Manchester United are all about.
He's a good manager. We knew that it was going to be a massive change in terms of demanding physically, mentally, the way that he wants us to play, and I just think that we are going in the right direction. We are not perfect, but we are seeing progresses, and this is the way that we want.
Getting a result would be huge. It would be. I think how tight the league is at the moment. You're so close to jumping to the top end of the table to being amongst the bottom half for sure. But you want that manager coming in and getting that first result and getting on the road. And I do think it'll be a tough game. But like I said, I think it's a bit of a free hit for Villa.
A perfectly proportioned weekend of football awaits. The 5 games on Saturday include the champions, who could go top for a few hours with a win against Fulham, and on Sunday, the remaining quintet of fixtures and and a chance for Arsenal to really stamp their authority.
London is blue.
London is blue.
No chance.
We're the Gunners.
We're the Arsenal.
We run this place.
Absolutely magnificent.
London is red.
No way.
It's a big London derby.
Welcome to the bridge.
We run London. Blah, blah, blah.
Are you ready for us?
Let's get it started.
What a game this is.
Arsenal, let's go.
What was that?